a whole bunch of supports in the NALCS and scrims that show up mid lane, and it's just like, what is this guy doing here? It's like, Matt, can you do that too? And so they're trying to get him to roam a little bit more, get him out of the lane, see if he's got those timings down. And that one was good, but then it fell apart from there.
All right, Team Liquid, let's see how they adapt and survive here in game number 2, or if Echo Fox is going to be walking away with the 2-0. And by the way, if Echo Fox wins this series, this will be the first time in Spring Split 2017 that Echo Fox actually goes 1-1 on a week.
Yeah.
Normally, they're all or nothing. They're 2-0 or 0-2.
Yeah, might be a little confused because they had the off week for IEM Katowice.
Right.
So it is technically an even week, but it's really an odd week by the number of weeks that we've had since the LCS started.
That's what's messing them up. They can't decide which one of the two they're actually supposed to be doing right now, but it's going to be Shen, Malzahar, and Varus banned away from the game by Team Liquid, and Echo Fox is going to take Rengar and LeBlanc off the table. They realize they don't have the first pick this time around. They don't want to give the Rengar option available over to ReignOver.
Yeah, and so Rise, I was going to say Rise, Rumble are still left on the table, and Rise being taken off, so all of the bans are the same as previously, except the Rumble has been substituted out in favor of the Rengar ban.
Graves picked up for Liquid, deciding that's what they want ReignOver on this game. That was a pretty fast lock-in as well. So pretty confident about the fact that that's the best way to start this draft off.
I think it's more of a takeaway from Akaadian because he was playing Graves even before it was cool in the NALCS. Because
Great
he was just this split especially because he was trying to carry, and they would draft things like Maokai in the top lane for Looper so they'd have the guaranteed CC. And now, speaking of drafting in the top lane,
okay,
it's a flex though.
So Looper's saying, all right, you guys picked it last time, we'll go ahead and do it again this time. Akaadian hovering over the Nidalee, saying, all right, if you want to take that carry jungler, we'll try this carry jungler. You took the cat. We can't play the cat from last time, so we'll play the cat from this time.
Yeah. I was looking at Looper. He had like an internal rhythm there, and he's like hopping along to it. He looked ready to go.
He's feeling it, man.
Yeah, he looks like, you know when you ready up in a Final Fantasy game to attack?
Oh, yeah, your character just sits there and bobs, and they're ready to go?
He's ready.
Attack animation queued up, locked in. Akaadian ready to attack on this Kha'Zix, the second pick so far of the draft for Echo Fox.
Kha'Zix picked up not the Nidalee. He had hovered the Nidalee, and that was something that he had played, and then a lot of people were like, why are people still playing Nidalee? Because it's not that great. You do need CC for it. And look at that. Lourlo's going to try to play the other end of this matchup into the top lane, but oh, alley-oop, that's it. Exactly. I freaking knew it. I knew it.
That's what they set the trap. That's all they were doing. They were baiting him in, saying, oh, look, you got outplayed in this last time. Don't you want to outplay it this time? And then they switch it out. Camille is not going to end up going topside. It's going to be Rumble instead. Rumble versus Renekton this time around on the top side. Jhin also going to be picked up for Liquid.
Yeah, I mentioned in the last game, and I was like, hold on, we don't know exactly where this Camille's going. This is most likely a Camille to gate in the bottom lane on support.
We'll have to see exactly what they want to do with it as all the picks end up getting done. But Echo Fox now going to be banning the Thresh away from Matt. Their opponents respond by banning the Ashe away from Keith. With Varus and Ashe now banned away and Jhin selected by Team Liquid, that means that the S tier has now been completely swept out.
Yeah, Ezreal's still on the table as that other one that's right below, but Keith comfortable playing things like Caitlyn when he made his NALCS debut way back in the day for TSM. Still comfortable on those champions.
Cassiopeia, what we were talking about at the end of last game, wondering if we're going to see Piglet on something like that. The answer is going to be no, because it's banned away.
Yeah, he had played Ryze, Cassio, and a LeBlanc game, and he ended up doing quite well on them.
And granted, the Cassio was banned last game as well, but that's just showing Echo Fox's strategy of, we know Piglet's good on this, we're not going to let him play it, don't worry about it.
Oh,
Sivir, the final ban of the game, Liquid going to decide to take that one off the table, double targeting the 80 carries in the second phase.
Yeah, sorry, my apologies. He had played Ahri instead of LeBlanc. So Ahri's still on the table for Piglet, so he would show us something that he's already shown us once.
Echo Fox now deciding exactly what they want to do here in this fourth step of picking, deciding to go for that Ezreal that you talked about. So going to be seeing that one going up against the S tier pick that does make it through, just like last time it was Ezreal versus Ashe. This time it's going to be Ezreal versus Jhin. Team Liquid now have two more picks to make in support and mid lane.
Could go Zyra here. Karma also available.
Karma's going to be picked up from Matt, so they've got that one there. The rotation, the lane power, the poking, the shielding, the hasting, all the good stuff that Karma's able to bring to the team. But now they still got to choose, what do we put Piglet on? What do we draft here that's going to enable him to carry this game?
Yeah, what does Piglet want? Because I know for a fact that Piglet is a very emotional player, and I've seen games where I'll be like, okay, why do you play this here? It's like, because Piglet wanted to play it, and a happy Piglet is a good Piglet.
Right, that's exactly what you want to see. And it looks like the choice this game is going to be Syndra. You can see the stats there on the bottom part of the screen. 14% pick rate, 49% ban rate, 63% win rate.
Yeah, it's actually up there, and yeah, the Anivia for Froggen here, the pocket pick coming out, and that's the worry is, does Piglet have experience in this specific matchup against Froggen's Anivia? We'll see, because it's very different from everybody else's.
And that's what we kind of talked about in game number 1. This is a person going to a brand new role versus somebody who's been in the role since ages past, a precursor of modern League of Legends.
Literally
Froggen,
just 7 years.
Always a thing, always an element in the scene, and he's been playing Anivia since forever. So Piglet has got to be ready and got to be prepared for this, because if he's not, Anivia's going to scramble him.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about how Froggen has actually played this champion for close to 7 years now, and in 3 more, it's a decade. That's a lot of Anivia. Crazy to think about that we're approaching that point slowly but surely. But yes, Piglet.
I can't believe the game's that old.
I know. I can't believe I'm that old. Happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday to you. We're all getting older.
Anyway, Syndra up against the Anivia here. Interesting matchup because Syndra needs a lot of mana to actually kill Anivia once and then kill her again in the egg. So sometimes you pop the egg just to get more HP. We'll see how he ends up handling that matchup up against Piglet.
Yeah, it's a very tricky situation that these guys are going to have to deal with, getting through that Anivia's second life. Anivia can be such a problem for a burst-focused champion so many times.
And that's the worry here is, does he have experience in the matchup? Does he know the ins and outs of it? Because that's what's really going to matter here up against an expert on the champion.
It's something that could influence the match a lot, depending on how it all ends up playing out. I mean, if Piglet can actually get ahead, get to the point where it is easy to go through both Anivia lives, he'll be in a great spot. But if Froggen can actually set himself up with a couple of awesome baits, have that egg get a lot of value when it does proc, it can really change the tide of things and make for an interesting situation.
Yep. TL, though, subbed in mid and put Piglet there because of the fact that, you know, he wanted to play mid and that he wanted to have carry potential on the team again. It's the rest of the team still having their inconsistencies, needing to step up. It can't just be the Piglet show, whether he's AD carry, whether he's mid.
Oh, it's a brand new Anivia too, the Carnival Anivia. I don't even know what this one looks like. I haven't seen it in game yet.
Oh, it's great. He played it the other day.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
It's majestic.
I missed that game. I was watching the other stream instead. RIP.
That was majestic. We were on that other game together. What's your excuse? No,
Yeah, what's your excuse? That's what I say. I was watching the other stream.
But still, Froggen with the teleport and Piglet with the heal in mid lane. So no Ghost or Cleanse. Interesting.
Minions
Just to
have
kind of
spawned.
sustain himself.
Yeah,
Give him a little bit more movement speed.
very strange to see the Syndra running that one, so...
Yeah. I mean, Ghost got nerfed, so it's not an instantaneous burst of movement speed. It ramps up over 2 seconds, and then you get the rest of it over the 8.
Right. Not as good for immediately running out of danger as it happens
Out of
to you.
queues and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
If you're offensively setting up a play, you can pop it 2 seconds earlier, and it'll all pretty much just have the same effect, but using it reactively, using it defensively, much less effective now. To see what Froggen is looking for. Throws out a confetti ball. That's pretty cool looking. I like that.
Oh, Youngbin walking up for him. What?
Youngbin
What are
getting
you
himself
doing?
caught out very early. Gate and Keith looking to make the moves. Heel's going to be popped. Echo Fox getting some good damage early. Youngbin's really got to respect that.
Like, that wasn't even a good position in any world. He thinks that Keith is alone, but Gate is right there, and Gate
Just
with the
jumped
relic,
on him.
With the Relic Shield's going to heal himself and Keith both back up.
That's really dangerous, especially now. That was a 1-for-2 summoner spell trade as well. Both exhausts going to be blown, and Youngbin uses the heal, so Keith now has that as an edge.
Oh, looking
future
for-
bottom lane fights. ReignOver going to be looking to steal away the blue buff.
whoa.
Does successfully grab it. Gate not going to be stopping that one.
Yeah, Gate actually just kind of misses out on some experience in the bottom side. He'll go over to Keith, and Keith will hit 2 a little bit sooner. But it's just being shoved in, so decides to provide some damage. And Akaadian will pick up the other side of the jungle. But yeah, that was a strange position to be in for Youngbin. mostly because of the fact that he's Jhin, low mobility, level 1, and he was in front of his own minions. So even if he gets like a good auto attack off or anything like that, the minions are going to hit him and make him lose the trade.
Yeah, when you're level 1, you're actually not very strong compared to what minions can do.
Yeah, he's doing it again. He's going so far forward. There's a cannon minion there, sir.
Well, Gate takes a little bit of damage. Youngbin drinking all those, well, I guess they're not potions, they're biscuits. So he's eating all the biscuits up as fast as he can. Still a little bit of rejuvenation on the side of Keith and Gate available through those consumables. Matt still having one of his own as well, but a massive minion wave here pushing up for Team Liquid, and Fox is happy to just let that collide with the turret, farm it up.
And it's so interesting as well, because as we watch Youngbin, previous game, it was his Karma support versus a Tahm Kench support, and there was never really a CS lead at all, which is so confusing because usually you'll just win the early game outright from having a ranged support. But you look at Youngbin, he's blown all 3 of his potions that he bought alongside his longsword, and his support isn't providing the same amount of damage and utility that apparently a Camille support is causing in threat. Basically, like Mark Z talked about, he wants to see something like a Leona. It's kind of like a Leona for your bottom lane where you engage with the E, you get in, and he's providing so much all-in potential that it's threatening to TL, and that's why we're seeing the CS so close.
20-24. Definitely a similar contest between these two, as Piglet constantly threatening onto Froggen here in the mid lane too, utilizing the power of the range on the Syndra against some of those dark spheres from so far away, and Froggen just doesn't have a reliable way to retaliate right now. It's pretty easy to dodge away from those flash frosts since they move so slow.
Yeah. So far so good for Piglet. Doesn't throw it at the wave because he wants it to be equalized. And then he'll shove it out because there's a TP coming through for Froggen. He will back up, purchase tier maybe?
Neither jungler really getting a whole lot done so far, as Gates looking to go in here on the bottom side, going to be dropping that sweep to heal himself up. Deadly Flourish going to be finding its way onto him. Keith and Gates still might have potential to do something here with the Summoner Spell advantage, but they decide to retreat. Massive health disadvantage for these two.
Yep. Heal held on to by Keith. The exhausts are coming up as well.
And honestly, Youngbin's heal is going to be back up really soon, so that never really resulted in a whole lot of anything.
Yeah, that's the type of play that you should be seeing from a lane that has double ranged versus somebody who has to all-in. If the all-in doesn't work and it's just a strange timing like it was there for Gate, you get chased down the lane and it ends up being awful, and now he's going to miss some CS here, but he's actually just not backing, and Keith's stuck around. So instead of sacrificing the CS, they decide to play back. They have they have Akaadian on this side of the jungle protecting them, making sure there's nobody there to go for a dive.
Froggen with some expert level CSing there in the mid lane underneath that tier 1 turret. After you play 7 years of Anivia, you're probably pretty used to getting all the minions that you possibly can. You know all the patterns in which to use the skills. And right, that's what I'm saying.
You did it! You did it!
Caster Curse,
it's a real
man.
thing.
We goofed it. He was just CSing like some kind of a monster, and now we put that evil hex on him.
Level 6 for Piglet right then.
Damage coming out. Froggen's going to be bursted down. Does not get egged and actually avoids the follow-up Dark Spear. So Piglet's burst comes through but doesn't find its mark. 2 different members also going to be standing around nearby in case there's any sort of a counterattack from Echo Fox. They back themselves up upon not really seeing anything come out just yet. Gate and Akaadian hanging around. The ward's down. It sees them both. Gate sort of just jumps into the wall and right back. Just kind of a juke out.
Pretty sure Froggen lives there because he levels up right before the combo. Piglet levels up and goes all in, but Froggen ends up down to 31 HP, and he may have actually just died because of it.
Akaadian getting closer and closer to his level 6 as well. Have to see what he goes for as his first evolution. Akaadian, one of the players who, as the evolutions tended towards claws into spikes, Akaadian was still going claws or spikes into the leap, into the wings second.
Yes.
He likes being able to have that reset potential, that carry potential, that
longer
go
range
off potential. Yeah.
It's longer range, so you can actually get ganks from a further distance. On to Youngbin.
Youngbin gonna get himself stunned up here. Gate now tied up by the Karma. Exhaust coming down onto Youngbin. A nice Mystic shot at the very back end of the fight, making it so they win it by that much harder.
3 seconds till Gate has hook shot again. And if he's feeling confident, then he would go in and try to look for another play. But they don't have the minion wave.
Yeah.
The cannon minion is Gonna provide a lot of damage there, so a little back off.
Got the minion disadvantage. Serrated Dirk also completed on the Youngbin means he's doing a lot of damage with that lethality. Keith with only a tier and a longsword, but they're still looking to make the fight happen yet again. Gate jumping in this time onto Matt, gonna be finding about half his health bar.
Different trade there. I feel like he's learning a little bit more about the matchup as it goes, because Gate, before he queued and then he waited for the true damage, but he's rooted by Karma by the time he gets it, and then it wears off fairly quickly afterwards. Whereas right there, he actually just double tapped his Q for 2 auto resets instead of waiting for the true damage because he knew he wasn't going to be able to get it off.
Right. It's that kind of adaptive play style that really shows your mastery on the champion. It shows that you know how to adapt yourself and change those different situations, make it so you can get as much damage as possible out of every different opportunity that arises, because even if you had an ability that did 1,000,000 damage, if you can never hit it, what's it matter?
Yeah, and you have to be quite good to play a support like this in the bottom side, because when he goes in now at level 6, it could be a big issue if he doesn't get a kill. Because Jhin, specifically, one of the beauties of him is even if you lose the trade, you back up, curtain call, and you win the trade, possibly get a kill.
Right. Because he can be so effective from so far away. True Shot Barrage going to be fired off, finds its way onto the minions and Youngbin. Not doing a whole ton of damage, though. Youngbin was like the 3rd or 4th target hit by that, so the depreciation on the overall damage was pretty effective at that point. ReignOver hanging around the top side, might be looking to make the dive here with Lourlo onto Looper. Gotta respect exactly what Rumble's capable of doing. Drops the equalizer. Lourlo's gonna be the one taking the aggro for now. Looper eating a whole lot of burst. They're making Piglet's way up here now as well, and First Blood is gonna be going over to Piglet. That heal! You gotta be kidding me! The unorthodox summoner spell comes in clutch.
I was like, he's gone, he's done.
1 for 1, yeah, it doesn't go the way they wanted it to, but Piglet makes it count. Echo Fox can go ahead and grab Drake #1, a Cloud Drake.
Seems like a much tankier Looper than they were expecting. Almost gets punished for it. But Piglet, honestly, with the save there, mid lane priority, walks up, and then ends up getting the kill, getting First Blood again for himself. And role swaps have revitalized some players' careers. You think about Score from AD Carry, moving up to the mid or to the jungle, and then Ambition, same thing. But hold on.
Fox looking to make the play onto Youngbin in the bottom lane. Hextech ultimatum issued. There's no way out except death or a timer. And the answer is going to be that first of those 2 options as the kill goes over to Froggen, getting himself rolling on this Anivia.
And gets the kill to match the mid lane. And Looper plays this pretty well. I would say you could hang out by the back of the turret and place the equalizer there instead. But otherwise, that's pretty much as good as you're going to get in a 3v1. Oh, man, he made it. Piglet, that's those moments where Piglet's like, do I do it?
Do I really want to? I guess.
But, I mean, he's like, I love ReignOver. ReignOver gank for me.
ReignOver's my guy. I guess I'll keep him alive today.
Yep. Oh, Froggen looking top. Lourlo does have flash, though.
There's your wall, there's your stun, there's your frostbite, but it really doesn't hurt that bad onto the Renekton. The Spectre's Cal does a lot to alleviate that kind of a threat.
Yeah.
Oh, the Anivia even dances when he backs. That's dope. I love it.
That's amazing. I have not seen that back yet.
The music that happens while he does it.
Yeah, it's great.
That's cool.
And it's just those little things, like Candy King Ivern.
Oh yeah, never forget the most horrific back animation
ever.
Piglet finding some burst down onto Akaadian, now going to be forced to flash away as Gate and Froggen make the counterattack. Looper coming in from the side. Piglet with very few resources left to spend. Likely going to be caught out here. The exhaust comes down. He's going to be burned away. Gate actually the one who gets the kill. Not what they would have liked to see with both solo laners hanging around, but they'll take it anyway. Still puts a death onto the enemy mid laner. Evens this game up in gold.
Yeah, and that's just the flank. That's 3 people coming around. Looper coming in as well.
And you know, last game we saw CS advantages for Echo Fox, pretty big ones in both solo lanes. This game, it's not the same. Instead, it's actually a CS advantage for Lourlo, even there in the mid lane, and then pretty much even in bottom lane as well.
Yeah, but it's even in a lane that has a roaming support that's 1-0-1, 100% KP for Gate, and also the fact that it's a range support versus a melee support. Akaadian doesn't get blown up there by Piglet. Piglet dodges, but Looper comes in from the side, and this is 4 people in Piglet's lane. You know, he used to think you couldn't be 4-man dove, the 5-man dove bot if you're playing mid. But it happens too, buddy. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
If the team wants to kill you, they're kill you.
Find some kind of way to make that happen. Some way to live the dream.
AD carries complain about getting 5-man, 4-man dove bottom. It happens to everybody, man.
It just happens a lot bottom.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's true. I'll give you that. But that was just a straight roam, no teleport from Looper. So everybody just collapsed. Gate came in as well. And that's the beauty of the dive champion of Camille, is that even on support, you can just go straight in and you're pretty much for the stun as well as the Hextech ultimatum. And you have an 80% decaying slow on your W, which takes 2 seconds.
Yeah,
to wear
there's
off.
a lot of utility potential on a champion like that you would normally only think about in terms of damage. Little bit of damage going to be coming back his way as he walks too close to the brush, finds Matt, and Youngbin stuns waiting for him. Keith, still not too afraid about it though. His support will stay healthy enough as he rotates up towards mid lane, Froggen getting himself back at the same time. Remember that first Drake did go over towards Echo Fox. The next one that's going to be up will be Ocean. And with both these teams so close, once they find something to fight over, you have no idea which way these fights are going to end up going. Turret First Blood also still on the table. Neither one has been able to find an opportunity to make the rotation to seize that just yet.
Yeah, no turrets have been able to be taken just yet. It's pretty much still just delayed laning phase. Elongated here, which both teams seem to be okay with right now. I do think that Gate roaming around helps him out a lot, because the bottom lane is not actually being dominated by the Karma and Jhin combo or anything like that. Little bit confusing. You would expect the Youngbin and Matt would be able to at least have a CS lead in that lane.
Right.
But it's not happening. Keith doing it right, by the way. The pickaxe for more damage as opposed to the stinger.
Yeah, there you go.
Faster too.
That's what we were looking for last game. Echo Fox doing it right. They want to make sure they win this game. They want to switch things up, get that 1-in-1 week. Stop themselves from, not only would this be the first time that Echo Fox would have a 1-in-1 week, but even without the result of this game mattering at all, Echo Fox has currently lost the last 3 series in a row. That is the longest losing spree they've had.
This split?
This split, yeah. This split, I should say. Got to make sure that I'm being correct with those, as Lourlo and ReignOver looking to take down the Tier 1 turret. Looper trying to keep himself alive as long as he can. Turret still going to be kept alive, just barely. ReignOver going to be taken super low. Lourlo still looking to make the dive. Flash for Flash. Akaadian and Froggen looking to make the moves onto Piglet. They have got him. Froggen grabbing that kill, and somehow Looper gets himself away.
They get the turret. They get the first turret, and the solo gold goes over to Lourlo. But Looper just made it out of there alive. I'm
not really sure exactly how he managed to get himself out of that one.
Well, they dove him when the turret's on, and it started getting its resistances back. They don't kill the turret fast enough. They're like, oh, just kill him. And he almost gets a kill there, too. He gets to chunk everybody out, and that was the threat.
Plays being made here in the bottom side, but the focus is split.
Akaadian.
They're focusing on the Matt and Youngbin at the same time. Froggen still looking to make the moves, grabbing the killing spree, almost able to make the double, cancels out the curtain call. Gate looking to jump right back into the fight. The egg onto Anivia. Lourlo jumping back in on top of these guys. Shut down over onto Froggen. Gate looking to run if he can. Grabs the passive shield yet again. Lourlo's got his Fury, still looking to make the moves. Can't quite do it just yet. Grabbing the kill onto Gate, but now ReignOver in trouble. Again gonna be healed. And Keith is gonna be getting a face full of turret shots.
That's not safety just yet. Piglet
trying to get himself away. Akaadian's hanging around nearby.
He's up in one.
300 HP, Essence Shift, Arcane Shift, whatever that darn thing is called. It gets him away to safety. And Echo Fox just causes a whole smorgasbord of blood in the bottom part of the map.
And we're back to even, but hold on. TP here, and also Akaadian's in that bush. Matt, they don't know Akaadian's there.
Interesting. The stun going to be finding its mark, and Thunderlords decrees his death. Matt killed again, second time this game. Akaadian going to be 1-0-5. 3-1-3 for Froggen.
Yeah, Froggen, I love watching just the way he levels up Anivia, because he puts 2 points into Q really early on for wave clear. He actually doesn't put a point into wall until level 8, and then he puts 2 points into wall as he starts to put points back into his Q. And right here, the ultimate from Gate to lock them down, but Youngbin ultis when he's in the Froggen ulti. Matt's there too, and then Youngbin walks back up, and then Keith's like, wait a second, he's up against the wall. 0 options, and he dies from the ultimate there.
True shot barrage.
Yeah, Lourlo trying to get as many people with his Q as he can to stay alive, and then Gate actually didn't hit his hook shot onto the wall either. It's a long range, but it's pretty forgiving.
Not that long.
Forgiving.
Then Keith popping the flash to keep himself alive from running through that turret. Echo Fox with a very slight gold lead, about 500 to their name. Going to be looking for Drake number 2 now with Akaadian and Froggen. They've got everybody hanging around. Looper's actually just setting up right down here, slightly south of them, looking for this tier 1 bottom lane turret. They don't need his help to take down the Drake. They are pinging under the top side tier 2. Gate's going to be eating those curtain call shots, but they're just not doing anything.
Yeah, but this zoned them all to the right side. Fox, TL now have inside track on top. Matt, ReignOver, Piglet, all positioned on the top side here. And there's a tier 2 that Lourlo now has position on, and the red buff's coming up. So TL actually get a decent amount for that. It's just hard to be like, oh, they got that immediately.
TL with Matt and Lourlo top side, bringing ReignOver and Piglet up as well, looking to get this tier 2 if they can. Keith alone will not be able to make any kind of a coherent defense. Gate wants to jump in, try to stop them if he can, but it will not be done today. Now Fox has to retreat, going to be getting themselves away from the attack in time.
Yep, the fact that they decided to try and push further actually hurts them because Youngbin has been walking back and forth between mid and top. He's actually got no CS in the last minute here. And Looper pushes in bottom. The Rumble will be able to deal damage to this turret. And now Youngbin is up in a one-on-one against Froggen. It almost ended up bad for him there.
Those walls are starting to get really, really powerful. He's actually, it's still just the level 2 wall, but they're so, the level 2 one seems so much bigger than the level 1.
Yeah.
I don't actually know what the unit comparison between the two is, but it's almost twice as big, or at least it feels that way.
It goes up to 500 units wide on level 2. Hold on, Matt.
Ooh! It's got a sting. Froggen grabbing the kill on that as Akaadian dies topside to Piglet, so both teams going to be losing a member to the opposite side jungler.
Yeah, but that's why Froggen puts
To the opposite side mid laner, excuse me.
Oh, gotcha.
It was the jungler who died. I had jungle on the brain because Akaadian's jungle brains were all over the top.
Another
Youngbin gets popped, the Electro Harpoon.
Who's next?
That is the question. The action just never stops this game. Echo Fox going to be finding turret number 4 for themselves.
Yeah, so I had the question of, what if Piglet doesn't know how to play against the Anivia? And it turns out, what if TL doesn't know how to play against the Anivia?
Just in general.
Because I love that he put 2 points into it because the units actually go from 400 to 500, and then 500 is enough to actually close off passages.
Like most off in mid lane.
Exactly. And so the whole point is your 400, people can walk around it a little bit. And Froggen talked about it in his pocket pick where you can put the wall in a position where you can still walk around if you need to. And oh my god.
Yeah, Akaadian just got splattered there before he could do anything. You saw him die mid-flight.
Yeah, I mean, Piglet's never going back to AD, man. He's
having way too much fun. So he's like, hey,
one-shot somebody, that's it.
I get to do damage again. I'm not just firing piercing arrows all game.
Yeah, he doesn't have to be utility. He still gets dove, but apparently the payoff is well worth it.
I mean, when you get dove on Syndra, you can just press R and take somebody with you, right? So, feels good, man. Echo Fox, though, still in a pretty good feel-good spot for themselves. Up about 1,500 gold. Up 1 turret now. 2 Drakes to 0. Next one's going to be another Cloud for more of that rotational movement ability. No Infernals or Mountains spawning yet this game. So that great setup that they got in game number 1 with the Infernal and 3 Mountains, that was just kind of a fluke.
Yeah. RNG. But still, Echo Fox,
it giveth and it taketh.
Yeah. Even though the RNG has taken it away in this one with the clouds in the oceans. Froggen with the Anivia, still deadly. We'll see here.
All right, the ball finding its way onto Gate as now Fox looking to turn this one right back around. Piglet going to be the target. Akaadian looking to get himself out of that Hextech ultimatum. Gate hanging around as long as he can to keep it persisting. Piglet going to be popped by Looper. Akaadian in the back line now going to be looking for the damage onto Youngbin. Keith making his way over into the fight now as well. Youngbin is popped. ReignOver trying to find the damage onto Gate. He will successfully grab it with the end of the line, but it's still only a 3-for-1. Make it a 4 as Echo Fox gets everybody except for the Graves.
Echo Fox has cleaned house. They're going to look at the Baron now, and they're going to try to get themselves out to a large lead.
Echo Fox has such high HP on everybody except for Akaadian, so they just got to make sure that Baron doesn't target him too much here. And they should be just fine. That Anivia ultimate going to be wearing down this Baron's health pretty rapidly, along with all those fires and flames from Looper. And these guys are going to keep on keeping on. 22 minutes into the game with a 5,000 gold advantage, 7 kills up. And Baron buff running on either everyone or almost everyone. I didn't actually see if Gate got it. He did not. So he just barely missed out on grabbing the Baron there. But Echo Fox is plenty happy giving it to the other 4 members as they take down their 5th turret.
The zone control from this Echo Fox team is disgusting. Gate can keep somebody in a corridor. They have the ultimate here from Froggen down in a choke point. So Froggen can control a point. And then they also have the ability to throw down the ultimate from Looper. Looper comes in, great ultimate there. And then Youngbin hits Akaadian. Was that the cute? Almost.
Problem for Youngbin, he's so far away from the rest of the team again.
Yeah. He started that with the curtain call on the top side, but I definitely think Looper turned that whole fight around. Froggen with the zone control on the wall in the choke point to really mess up Piglet. And I honestly think Youngbin did not contribute as much as he could have in that fight. Yeah. I think he had an opportunity there to kill Akaadian. There wasn't I mean, he actually like moved back and forth a little bit instead of auto-attacking at one point. I understand Jhin does have that fixed auto-attack timer, but there was enough time there. If he was on point, he does get those autos off, and he does get that last shot and take somebody down with him. But like you said, bad position kind of from the get-go, but I think it's not a fight TL should be taking in the first place.
Yeah. And honestly, look at Keith right now. 3-0-1 on the Ezreal. Another deathless game so far, so his positioning's been on point when you compare that to Youngbin 0-4.
Yeah, and here comes Froggen's specialty. Look at that. Wall on the right, ulti on the left. You can't stop the Anivia siege against this guy.
Keith, Arcane shifting himself away from danger. Curtain call coming out. That fourth shot hit Froggen for 100 damage.
Yeah, most of the damage from the fourth shot from Jhin is from the percent HP that it does.
The execute.
Yeah, it does more damage based on the percent missing HP that the enemy has. Now Froggen walk up, R there, W on the other side. Oh, he walked away
And
from
life
the R.
is really, really hard to deal with. Echo Fox using this Baron for as long as they can. Deadly Flourish finding his way onto Froggen. There's no damage to go with it, though. Lourlo going to be Hextech Ultimatum. Fox kiting back. Gate's going to be bursted down. Hextech Ultimatum can now no longer stand. Equalizer has worn down the health bars a little bit on the side of Team Liquid, but Lourlo is still an absolute monster. Looper going to be taken low next. Keith barely getting himself out. The damage onto Akaadian is going to be striking true. Looper can't find anybody, and Liquid goes 3, almost 4 for 0.
And they turned that around. They were basically in their base. Their turret is so low and was about to be taken down and have that inhibitor opened up. But they're able to actually strike back. A lot of that's Lourlo diving in. The rest of the team helping him.
Liquid now seeing if they can grab anything off the back of it. The tier 1 turret looking pretty desirable right now.
Kind of hard to siege against the Anivia, but we'll see.
Froggen can save this. He's some kind of a monster. Throws out the Flash Frost. Not going to be finding ReignOver. A good dash out of the way. Going to be keeping him safe from that.
Yeah, he had to wait for his teammate to come up. Froggen was there a little bit earlier and spent a few seconds in that bush, mostly because he didn't want to be a 1-on-4. Have another person there for threat.
Cloud Drake going to be jumped on now by Liquid. So off the back of that 3 versus 0 fight, they end up getting the tier 1 turret in the mid lane. They end up getting the Cloud Drake.
Yep.
And Looper's flank just makes it happen.
This is Lourlo coming in. Lourlo's flank, excuse me. Goes straight in, gets ultied by Gate, but then they just turn on the Gate because he has to stay in there too. That's the kicker. And then Looper walks up and watch Looper. Looper's like, oh wait, oh. Takes so much damage, and that Piglet, that's super smart because he throws down all the balls onto Looper, almost kills him. He's like, this guy is dead. I don't need to overkill ulti him. Ultis Keith, who is near full HP, chunks him out, almost gets 2 kills simultaneously off of that.
Good moves considering he's an AD carry player.
He used to be
an AD carry player. Time's now long forgotten in this new age of mid lane Piglet.
It's the old new Piglet.
The old new Piglet.
He used to play mid way back in the day. The reason he swapped to AD carry was because all the AD carry players he played with in solo queue sucked.
The mid laner formerly known as the AD carry formerly known as Piglet. Is doing himself a good job here in mid lane this game. 2, 3, and 4. The KDA might not be the flashiest thing in the world, but the plays themselves are not always reflected in that. Froggen throwing out the Flash Frost. Not going to find anybody with it this time. Lourlo so big on this Renekton. Not afraid to dash over the walls, be the front line. Oh. Baron power play, negative 80 gold.
Sick Baron power play.
Not exactly what Echo Fox had in mind when they got it, as now Gate going to be issuing that Hextech Ultimatum. Looper off to the side, having to get himself away from those curtain call shots. Gate's going to be isolated. 5 Team Liquid members stand between him and any hope of escape. But now Echo Fox is looking to turn things right back around if they can. Looper is just massive and maniacal. A double kill for Piglet, looking to make it even more. Lourlo sitting on top of Froggen. If he can get this kill, it'll be massive. That's a nice, pretty golden bird, but it ain't going to be too pretty for too long. ReignOver goes unstoppable. Another 4 for 0 fight for Liquid.
Keith is clearing the wave, and there actually is super low HP on all these TL members except for Lourlo, but they're going to go top instead of mid. And Keith, he stopped them from barreling down mid lane, but it's still going to not stop them from barreling down top.
I'm noticing a trend in this series so far, Zirene. Renekton does work.
Okay, Keith?
What is Keith doing?
He's taking the scenic route. It looked like he was thinking about going bottom and pushing that gigantic wave in, but Piglet had backed, and yeah.
Taking just the long drive to the country home.
You don't want to go up against a Syndra, even if she doesn't have ulti here. This is beautiful, though, because Gate actually dives in, and then the equalizer comes down on Piglet, but Piglet finds like a little area where he can stand and not get completely decimated by it. Still takes a large amount of damage. Matt gives him the shielding, and then the zone from Lourlo, the turn there. Everybody was on Gate. Lourlo went off, and then he goes straight after the back line there and weaves back and forth. He didn't have to turn that early, but everybody was peeling for Youngbin, and Youngbin got to stay safe there. Regardless of who was jumping in on him, Akaadian on that second point, Looper as well, it doesn't matter.
Lourlo's Renekton has just showed up so big.
Yeah.
In these past couple of fights, both of them largely off the back of what he's able to do in the front line. Damage dealt, 240 from Akaadian's Kha'Zix, going behind, doing less even than Matt's Karma. Just was not able to get anything done.
Yeah, you talked about how he likes to evolve Wings second against teams that have squishy members like a Graves. He did evolve Wings second, so he doesn't have the spray W, he doesn't have the extra slow that could be beneficial for his team.
Echo Fox has really got to be careful now. They've ended up throwing away the lead that they had. The game is back to dead even, 13-13, 5 turrets to 5. Could go anybody's way, and Liquid has a hell of a lot of momentum to work with. Piglet looking to make the stuns, looking to make the first. Keith's going to be taken low, but now Piglet's found himself in the Hextech ultimatum. Redemption going to be used. Keith's got to be keeping himself safe. Matt's going to be popped first. Piglet's going to be popped second. Looper grabbing the kill onto that one. Lourlo's number 3. And Echo Fox finally finds what they needed.
And this, is it Baron? Is it mid lane? Is it both? Youngbin,
lead him away. Don't take him to Baron. Take him somewhere else. Oh, they're going to take him straight to the cleaners. Akaadian grabbing the kill. And Echo Fox now onto Baron for the second time.
Yep, they're going to pick this one up. No problem now. All the work was done back in that team fight. And that was Piglet. I don't know, man. Guys should know that...
He saw red. There was blood in his eyes. He wanted Keith.
AD carry, trying to one-shot him. No, it worked out that way, man.
I really like our Baron graphic, too.
Yeah, that was
great. With all the green spit, the acid and stuff.
I like Rumbles, too. But yeah, Keith, like, almost gets one-shot, but he has a no magic mantle in his inventory. It's like, what is that doing there? He should be completing Blade of the Ruined King. Nope, actually saves him.
Inhibitor turret eats a lot of damage. Liquid able to stop it before it goes down, though. They didn't have Youngbin back up, but now they do. Fox need to make sure that they get more fights like the last one and fewer like the ones before that. Liquid trying to do the opposite, but they've got a much more difficult proposition to work against now that the enemy team has Baron.
Yep, Ocean Drake will be on in 22 seconds here. That's next objective. And this here, Piglet almost kills Keith, gets the stun afterwards. Boom, 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 boom. Almost gets him. That would have killed him if it wasn't for the null magic mantle. It gives him 25 magic resist, which gives him 25% more effective HP. And that was enough right there. So saved him with that item purchase. And Froggen with the wall and the follow-up there allowed them to pick him off. And Lourlo didn't seem to be too much of a tanky crocodile that time.
Youngbin just getting deleted on the back end of the fight. And we talked a little bit earlier about how Piglet is an emotional player, and we've seen in the past how players say, yeah, Piglet tilts easily, we can try to target that. Piglet, after the momentum that Liquid was able to pick up in those past couple of fights, might have just seen that as this is the moment, this is the time to go, this is where we end this game, and it wasn't. And that ends up putting him in a really rough spot now. Not just in terms of where they're at on Summoner's Rift, but mentally knowing that you were coming back into the game like that your opponents had lost their grip on everything, and now you're the ones who lost the grip on the lost grip of the game. There's no grip left, Zirene.
There's nothing. I got to get a grip.
You got no grip.
They do need to get a grip on this game, though. That turret's going to go down. Open up from Youngbin here.
For Lourlo jumping himself away. Looper's going to be targeted. Lourlo eating some damage too. Equalizer coming down, but it's not going to be finding a whole lot. Echo Fox grabs the mid lane turret. They end up disengaging the fight. Lourlo's ultimate now not going to be available.
Yeah, Looper going to back.
Yeah, Looper's the one person who took a lot of damage.
There it is. Yeah, TP in so he doesn't waste these next 50 seconds of Baron buff walking back to lane. They want this inhibitor with the Baron buff. That's the call here.
Totally understandable. Froggen with all that zone control may be able to keep Team Liquid away here. Remember, Lourlo's not going to be nearly as scary without that ultimate to get himself in there. Dominus makes Renekton just from a normal monster into a massive monster. Echo Fox now rotating down towards the bottom side, seeing what they can find here.
Gigantic wave, 30 seconds on Baron buff. That gives them enough time to siege this, possibly take it while this is still on.
There comes that big time wall. Not really stopping Liquid from clearing out all these minions, though. Lourlo not afraid to dive in, unleash that Renekton burst onto the wave, and make sure they clear it out as effectively and quickly as possible. 17-13 still the score. Fox with a slight lead in that department, back up to a 5K gold lead from the complete even state of the game before that last fight. Matt now in some trouble. Look at the burst coming out, going to be forced to flash. Gate tries to jump in, but now he's going to be potentially caught. Redemption comes down. He tries to stick around for the heal, but he's still going to be caught. Lourlo looking for Looper now, who's got no way out. Going to be using the Zonias, just trying to buy some time. True Shot Barrage doesn't find any kind of a kill. Akaadian might be looking to make some sort of a snipe into the back line. Lourlo looking to make his move onto Keith if he can. Froggen taken low. Scramble the egg, boys. Here we go. Liquid's able to grab 3 yet again for 0.
We got a game going on right now because this mid lane now just has so many minions pushing up. They have to go clear it. And it's back and forth. Those Baron buffs, they're all gone now, expired. Now it just comes down to those plays, those team fight plays.
Piglet moves back in, and honestly, that's one of the cool things, one of the feels-good moments of Syndra, is when those stupid giant minions are hitting on the turret, other champions have to watch. Syndra throws them away.
Yep, picks him up. Gate, though, speaking of throwing it away, yeah, walks in. Lourlo already flanking. Went through base gate, I believe, and then ends up here. And Youngbin, actually, it's a pretty good open up here with the ulti after he has dodged the True Shot Barrage. And that Froggen far enough away, he doesn't fall into the same trap of getting hit by ultimates. And then he holds his 3rd shot, throws it at Froggen, then gets the 5th shot on him. Or 4th shot, sorry. It hit for 500. I was like, 5's in my head for some reason.
Greed is a deadly sin, Zirene, and Gate just learned that the hard way. Trying to jump in, find that kill onto Matt, instead gets himself punished, gets his team punished. Oof. Baron power play. Hey, at least it's not -80.
Yeah.
It's 804 is not a super impressive Baron power play. It is a more impressive Baron power play than -80.
Yeah, that is less gold than taking the Baron because it gives everybody on your team gold.
We're trying to stay positive here, Zirene.
I'm saying.
Positive energy.
I'm just saying.
Echo Fox is going to need more than positive energy. They're going to need a solid plan to secure their victory here. Game back down to only 3,000 gold apart, and when the grand total is 61 to 64,000, 3K really doesn't feel like very much.
Yeah, not that much at all. It's spread out throughout the team too, so it's ending up in pieces of items, not full items really ahead. Bottom lane though, looking at, oh, Keith still having another good game for himself, has the last Whisper pickup.
Yeah, Keith's doing awesome. He still hasn't died. Despite the 2 really bad fights for Echo Fox, Keith hasn't been one of the victims in either one of them.
Well, ReignOver hasn't either. ReignOver is actually really high up there in his kill participation.
Yeah.
Only missed out on 1 kill so far, and he's been a big contributor to this game. He's been kind of overlooked, kind of silent in it, but he has been there. He has been providing the heavy damage, and he's level 17, and we're hitting those 17 marks right now. People are hitting 18 very shortly. Is Youngbin still behind?
Yeah, we've been talking a lot about the solo lanes on the side of Team Liquid, but ReignOver with just an awesome performance for himself so far.
Yep, was one of the people who went top and got Looper early on in the game, and Piglet came up as well. And so they're trying to create kind of a top half of the map, Piglet, ReignOver, Lourlo trio.
Well, it's been enough to keep them going in this game so far when things originally looked very, very shisty. So hopefully they're able to get that momentum still working in their favor, because if they lose here, remember, the series is over. Fox is going to be walking away 1-1 on the week in that losing streak. But Liquid is not about giving away those kind of charitable favors today.
And Liquid talked about what success looks like for them. It looks like improvement, and if they're not just rolling over, and if they're not just giving over games, and they are putting up a fight, then that's an improvement for them as well. That's what they're looking for here. And Elder Dragon and Baron about to be both on the table here. 30 on the Elder, but mid lane controlled by TL. Fox were kind of looking for a flank there, not so much of an actual Baron attempt.
Look at that little speck of blue there in the gold difference versus time graph. Just
27.
Around 27 minutes, Team Liquid had this short hold on the gold lead, and then just immediately disappeared right back into the ocean of red that has been the Echo Fox gold lead for the vast majority of this game. Both sides seeming to respect each other a lot now at this point. Fox's earlier aggression earlier bravado has kind of been halted a little bit now as they play back a little bit further, try to allow themselves to set up and wait for the fight instead of jumping in. Blue inhibitor now respawn. Means there's no extra pressure from the super minions on the map. Froggen trying to find something with the wall, but not going to be getting it. Graves has the tools to just dash back over that, keep himself safe. Baron is live. Elder Drake is live. Ooh. So both big neutral objectives up and available for these teams if either one thinks they can force one of those.
Yeah, but here's the thing is, side waves, Echo Fox just half cleared the bottom side wave with the Ezreal ultimate, but they're going to have to look at that soon. Top wave, though, for Team Liquid, is going to be pushing in, and that's a turret that's already low. So TL are going to have to get control of this top mid side very quickly, and you can see ReignOver trying to establish vision control on the Baron, and also so somebody can go pick that up. And Piglet's going to be the one on duty, so now it's going to create a vacuum. Fox will run down the mid lane, get control here, and loop back up. And oh, was it a bait because the minion wave?
Looks like it might be. Curtain call opens up. Lourlo goes in onto gate. ReignOver going to be finding his way onto Froggen there in the back line. Redemption coming out. Lourlo grabbing the kill onto gate as the opener for this fight. ReignOver with his Guardian Angel, not even really afraid of that Anivia wall. The minions still banging on the door to the top part of the base for Team Liquid.
Yeah, it's the trade that they made. They decided, all right, this turret, this minion wave is just a bait, and it paid off in a kill, but is it going to pay off more?
Froggen putting himself in a really, really bad spot. Going to be egged almost immediately. Looper looking to make the kill onto Piglet. Instead, going to be popped himself. Froggen goes down to Akaadian. Barely getting himself out alive as Lourlo goes for the kill onto Keith. Not going to be able to find that one either. Keith getting himself away, preserving that deathless score. But Team Liquid finds yet another fight for themselves. ReignOver looking to collapse here in onto Keith. Keith making some decent damage happen. Now going to be caught out. Now going to be brought down. And the credit goes over to Youngbin.
Oh, it looks so good for Keith there, but nope. Turns out that there's help there for ReignOver. He gets to keep his deathless score. Immovable object.
There can be only one.
Yep. Now that it looks like Baron is going to be what's on the table here, Akaadian starting to do the Scuttle Crab for the Elder Dragon, make sure that isn't taken away. They can look at just one objective here. Let's see if he runs towards the top side of the map or what they do. They're actually going to trade it here. Echo Fox have 3 Drakes.
Very scary Elder Dragon proposition.
What's the call? Is Piglet going to come here? I think he does.
Yeah, Piglet's looking to just go stop these guys if he can. If he can put enough damage onto Akaadian to maybe scare them off. Trying to throw those orbs over the wall, but he's got to be careful about his own positioning. Baron dropping
They have
much
2 on
faster.
Baron. They have everybody else on the Drake.
Baron's still falling. Youngbin and ReignOver can't secure this one for themselves. They've already got it. Lourlo, Piglet.
They don't have enough damage here to kill it before the rest TL get there.
Very well played from Team Liquid. They managed to get their own objective, scare their opponents off the other one. The Elder Drake is still aggroed and at 40% HP, and all of Team Liquid happens to be hanging around right here. This is going to be a double mega buff Team Liquid.
They're going to get both. They're going to have their cake and they're going to eat it too. Great macro call there from TL. They gave up they gave up their top turret, but it ended up being like one of the most ultimate baits there because instead of actually going for that top minion wave, which is what you expect, this gigantic minion wave, you expect them to go there, they hide as a split unit. And that was so weird because Echo Fox standard play, go mid slightly, get control of Baron as you see people show up top. But instead, they push in mid, go for the inhibitor a little bit too far, and TL honestly predicted that they would do that and then showed up and flanked them. It was a pincer move where Lourlo is in the back line. The Crocodile is definitely in the interior, causing damage.
Team Liquid now, with both these buffs up and running, needs to find something to do with them before they expire. They've got 2 exposed inhibitors available to attack should they want to, and they need to want to.
They need to want to. I like it. But they don't really have the means just yet right now if you're Echo Fox to get to those exposed inhibitors. The double buffed up TL, a little bit too strong, and you're seeing these item purchases come out. The triple defensive items for his allies from Matt, and then also the fact that you have the Death's Dance now, full item build for ReignOver, Guardian Angel on top of his Deathless scoreline.
Very, very scary here on the Graves, 7-0 and 12. Still part of every kill except for that one that he happened to miss out on. Team Liquid pushing up here on the bottom side. This is exposed inhibitor number 1. The other one will be in the top part of the base. So if they can get themselves a good spot where they chunk somebody out, they can take both of those relatively easily. Anivia will not be able to just clear out these minions with her ultimate like she's normally used to, like she normally wants to.
Yep. Top wave, though, is where I assume they're going to be looking next. They're going to push bottom. Lourlo is going to push up mid, go for this turret with his Baron buff, pull people around, and now Keith is going to go towards the top side, clear that wave. He's going to have to, and this actually leaves Lourlo open to push mid, get the turret, and actually put himself in a flank position so TL can get this bot in hit.
It's going to take Keith a couple of seconds to clear that out. Ezreal does not have a lot of AoE tools, sans the ultimate. Clear that away. Actually doesn't have any that can affect minions.
Yeah, they use that gigantic top wave to just push and use that as another member on their team. They have 50 seconds on this Baron buff left, more than enough to start decimating the base.
Fox trying to make some kind of a last-ditch effort, but it's going to be Gate alone, forced to step out of his ultimatum. The Redemption healing everybody on Liquid back up. Piglet's still going to be somewhat hurt. The Anivia ultimate continuing to tick onto Matt. Curtain call shots fired off. One going to find its way onto Keith. One going to find its way onto Gate. Mid lane inhibitor turret still barely standing on the side of Echo Fox. It's their last one. And ReignOver, Lourlo, and Youngbin looking to change that real quick. Anivia wall going to be blocking ReignOver off. They still can't get themselves in here. ReignOver decides to dash over the wall and go for it if he can. Fox still on the back foot. Gate wants to jump right back into the fight. True Shot Barrage going to be fired off. This could be the final fight if it goes. Deadly Flourish finding its way onto Gate. Matt going to be caught out here a little bit. Mystic Shots working their way onto him. Forced to flash away. And they all walk away, no doubt.
Yep, it's just the siege there, and they get that turret, though, so Echo Fox no longer have any inhibitor turrets left. Just those exposed inhibitors with the bottom one down currently. But the buffs have all expired. About to actually go off right there. ReignOver still had his there for the Baron Empowered Recall. Runic Affinity does increase the duration of your singular Baron buff on yourself.
Well, I'd say that was a pretty solid Baron power play from Team Liquid. Probably better than the ones we saw from Fox. I'm probably willing to bet. Especially considering they are back in the gold lead now, if only by about 3,500. But here's the thing. We're at the 80,000 mark, which is generally around where you consider the gold to not matter anymore because everybody's hitting full builds anyway. So now it's just going to come down to execution. It's going to come down to setup. It's going to come down to who plays it right and who plays it better. And you can't play it much better than being a 7-0 and 12 Graves at 45 minutes. That's clean.
Yeah, you really can't, unless it's a 7-0, 12 Graves at 30 minutes and the game was already over. But
yeah, that would be one way to do it.
It's not yet.
I guess if we're going to find ways to
I'm always going to find a way.
That would be it.
I'm always going to find a way.
There's always going to be some kind of way.
It's like, this doesn't get much better than 1,000 gold lead at 5 minutes. I'm like,
well, what if I had
1,001 gold lead? Oh, boom, got him. I don't mean to be contrarian, I swear.
I don't do it on purpose. It's just the way I am.
I'm just a dick. I'm sorry.
Team Liquid. We're going to move up now and maybe end this one. Do what Echo Fox could not do this entire time.
And looks like they're just sieging both top and mid here. They're going to put Lourlo back and forth. He's actually going to threaten and then come mid and top and just look back and forth. You can see him dipping in and out of what he thinks is Fog of War. And then he's going to clear minion wave, push forward, and now the rest of Echo Fox are going to look up. Gate may try to engage. Nope.
And not going to do it. There's the gold overtime graph. What used to be a red ocean is now trending towards a blue mountain range at the edge. Yeah, Lourlo? More of a cliffside, not really a mountain range. Yeah. It's not that tall yet.
That's true.
Gotta be careful about my geography descriptors. Matt in danger of maybe being stunned up. Gate looking to jump right back into the fight. Redemption going to be coming down, but Matt is still low. Remember, his flash was already expended earlier. Gate going to be taken down to about 1/3 HP. Hextech Ultimatum still available. Exhaust also available.
And these equalizers aren't doing anything, really.
No.
They look good.
Not enough.
But the issue is there's magic resistance. There's 2 magic resist items on Youngbin. And then Matt has Redemption that he pops immediately after popping the Locket. So Equalizer comes down, he Lockets, then he Redemptions on top of it. The Locket keeps you alive long enough.
For the first 2 seconds of it.
That the Redemption comes down. And
it largely nullifies it.
Honestly, and I also think that the boots that Looper has, the Ninja Tabi, are incredibly good for the matchup and incredibly good for the game. But he's really missing that spell penetration right now.
Truly is. With only 1 item left to build, he's near the peak of his damage too. He's got the Void Staff, he's got the Rabadon. It's not like you're looking at a 2-item Rumble and saying, oh, well, the damage is going to get better later, don't worry about it. This is a very strong Rumble. He's already got, I don't even know how much that is, 510 AP.
And don't get me wrong, that's a pretty damn insane Equalizer. It always does a ton of damage. Just the base damage itself, 240 plus 153, so it's doing about 400 damage a tick for 5 seconds. That's a 2,000 damage AoE ability.
That's largely being negated by the power of the Karma coming out from that. These teams been very, very careful now for a good while. Ever since they both demonstrated they were still capable of winning fights, they've sort of demanded respect from the other side. Neither one can really take this as a freebie anymore. Nobody can look at this like, oh, well, we're ahead, we've got the momentum, we're going to win, obviously, because they have both seen themselves throw when they underestimated their opponents. Deadly Flourish onto Froggen. He drops the wall to prevent them from collapsing in time. Piglet still with that spear at the ready.
Baron on the table. Looper going to go bot side, clear out this minion wave. There's a minion wave top that needs to be dealt with from Team Liquid, but they're going to start this Baron up. This is where the game will break if somebody gets that Baron.
Liquid looking to make the fight happen. Akaadian's going to be taken low. Can they find the damage they need? Gate looking to get himself away. Akaadian's Guardian Angel is popped, and so is Gate's life. Liquid still looking for more if they can get it. They got one, but they want to have even more fun if they can. Baron's the target. They've moved on to it. Piglet over the wall, constantly being a threat.
If Piglet did this as an AD carry all the time,
they would just
as a mid laner, the flank is way better. He's the one who hit Akaadian with the ball and then set up Youngbin for the root afterwards, and that's what got the GA. And Youngbin's ultimate wasn't bad either. Lourlo's going to back, maybe TP back in here with a full HP, and they're just buying time right now. ReignOver healing himself a bit off the Baron, but takes a large chunk.
Yeah, the damage coming in from Keith over the wall is preventing this as Lourlo comes in. This might end the game if he can make this work. Flashes into the fight, able to find the lockdown onto Froggen. More CC comes through, and that is what I'm talking about. Equalizers there, but it's not going to be doing anything. Both solo laners go down.
And now Keith and Akaadian hanging out in this bush. He's trying to bait him in there. Piglet. Oh, now they know Akaadian's in there too. Ah, that was nice.
ReignOver, thinking about this, decides not to go for it.
Yeah, this might be game.
They've still got 50-second death timers on both Looper and Froggen.
Yeah, 50
seconds. 49 minutes in.
It's insane. They're either going to get the Baron or they're going to get the game.
We'll have to see what it is. Gate forced to cancel the Hextech ultimatum. Curtain call shots looking for Keith. Third one's going to find him. Fourth one's going to miss. But the Nexus turrets are the target. Akaadian just messing with Matt in the jungle. It's not going to be mattering to anything. Zirene, we are going to game number 3.
TL take the win. 9-0.
What a comeback.
9-0 and 13 there from ReignOver. Insane.
What a comeback from Team Liquid. They were behind, like you saw the gold graph 2 or 3 different times. They were behind the entirety of that game, but they held on. They punished mistakes. They punished over-aggression. They punished greed, and their reward was the victory.
And you can see Piglet definitely happy about that. I was saying a happy Piglet's a good Piglet. And that was definitely a good game for him. First blood, roamed up to the top side of the map during a dive that looked like it wasn't really going to go their way. And the rest of the game, it's kind of baffling as well, because you look at the compositions for a second, because it's a Rumble, an Anivia, and you're just like, oh man, great team fight composition, double magic damage dealers, and then they have great AoE abilities. You want a team fight with this composition. You want a team fight the whole time. Lourlo on the other side playing Renekton, and then they have a Syndra. So you're thinking, all right, pick. They're about pick and split push, right?
Yeah.
That's not how it went. You Lourlo, like, such high kill participation. The Graves for ReignOver only missed out on 1 kill in the entire game, I believe, in terms of assisting on it. And they actually just grouped up and used Matt's Karma to negate all of the magic damage that they were going to be dealing from the side of Echo Fox. So what was a teamfight composition up against what would look like a pick and a split push one ended up not being that way.
It was really impressive to see from Liquid. And talking about, too, we mentioned Piglet, especially as an emotional player, as a player that can let the situation get the best of him sometimes. Coming off of a game like that, he's going to be feeling good going into game 3.
Yeah, and I think it was funny because I was talking with Lourlo a little bit before the game, and he's like, don't worry, Midlet's going to carry this game.
Midlet's going to carry.
I was like, what do you mean worried? Right? It's like, what? Still, it seems like they were. It was funny because I had just added him on the client, and that's all he said. I was like, okay.
There you go.
Right.
Sometimes that's all you got to say.
But ReignOver stepped up too, and I actually think I need to reevaluate my opinion on Renekton, because I always thought, gets behind and, he's a useless champion.
Doesn't do anything.
And they did camp for him a little bit, but I feel like they're not punishing him it enough in the early game, and it seems to be pretty good in the hands of these players. Both Looper and Lourlo have shown that they are very adept at this champion, that they know how to TP flank with it and cause that disruption in the backline.
Yep, his 2 presences in those 2 mid-game fights that turn things around, absolutely instrumental in making those all work out for them. But we're going to go ahead and throw things over to the analysts now so they can break down how Team Liquid turned that game around.
Thank you very much, Flowers. Thanks, Zirene. And yeah, what an interesting game. Yeah, interesting is definitely the word, especially the first, 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, Mardi Gras recently. We've got Carnival. There's a fiesta going on here. I mean, like, pretty an insane game. A lot of back and forth. Echo Fox winning for, like, all of it, and then managed not to.
Yep, somehow.
Somehow, well, Team Cup may be part of it. If you want to break that down, I know you were talking about some weaknesses here.
Yeah, I think the big thing for Echo Fox that was their problem was that they really didn't have a front liner at all. The closest thing was Gate, and it takes a while for your support Camille to become a little tanky. Towards the end of the game, as she was getting to her like 3rd, 4th, 5th item, she started being a little bit tankier, but you still have nothing compared to the Renekton, who was actually one of the big factors in why TL was able to come back. Lourlo was able to get big enough that he could frontline for the Graves, Syndra, and Jhin to deal a bunch of damage. But it wasn't until like 23 minutes that started happening, and the early game was just totally crazy.
Yeah, early game was absolutely crazy. We will eventually get to the first replay, which is like an insane bot lane team fight, and we got that coming up right now. We can hear the sound in our ears, so at some point it'll be on screen
as well. So yeah, this is just, it's a dive attempt by Fox after they got a kill mid lane. They're trying to transition that down the bot lane. They overstep, and then it starts here where it's like, Youngbin, what are you doing?
Ult's on the Anivia ult.
Ult's on the Anivia ult, giving, just basically letting Froggen almost kill him. He does not die, however, and then he dies when he goes for the W onto Froggen's egg. And then this is such a long fight that's giving time for Piglet to respawn and start running down bot lane. And ReignOver's able to live throughout it, and it's just this insane 3v3 that like really never should have happened. And this was after there was a lot of pressure around the top and mid, where TL was putting a lot of pressure top, and then Echo Fox was responding with mid.
Yeah, and just kind of very strange, right? Like they're fighting literally behind another turret, in range of the next turret. Like they're diving that hard, Echo Fox there, just kind of a very strange one. We saw games we saw a clip, it's not gonna be a replay, but I'll describe it, where Piglet was so convinced that bot laners are weak that he flash ults the Ezreal, or the Jhin, and then dies for it and practically throws the game off it. So, I guess he's given us evidence that maybe it's not quite so bad, that you can still suicide. I think it still counts as Vayne spotting, by the way. Even if he's not playing Vayne, I think Piglet can rack up a couple of points in that score.
Yeah.
Ask his team where the peel was, a little unfortunate. But yeah, it's a game where, as we mentioned, Echo Fox don't have really good engage tools. They don't have a tank. And you've got like a Karma who could just like shield the entire equalizer, so that there's not even any good damage anymore really coming out of Echo Fox.
Right, there were a number of times where you'd see the Camille go for an isolating a target, and then you rumble the rumble ult on top of it. It's hard to get out of it, and that's great. But the problem is, it was often a member that would just get a Karma shield, redemption, lock it, and then you have no one else to follow up. So if that equalizer doesn't actually 100 to 0 that target, like what Looper's gonna flash him and Flame Spitter and Zhonya's and hope that adds the extra damage. Right. It's hard for Keith to get involved, and it's hard for Froggen to get involved, and that was their main initiation pattern, and they're playing this very high execution poke damage comp.
It's like you've got to kite back to do anything with an Anivia, and you're against like Jhin, Syndra, who are like, great, we'll wait for opportunity, and as soon as you get stunned, you die.
Yeah, they just need to sit there and fish for stuns. You throw out the Syndra E's, you throw out the Jhin W's, and if one lands, great, go on it. And then the whole time too, it's hard for them to lock down a Renekton. So there are a number of team fights as well that started with Lourlo just jumping on their backline, and you have no targeted CC really aside for the Camille ult to hold him in there, but that doesn't even get him off your carry. That just locks him in there with him.
Yep, so we can see exactly what that was looking like. Our second replay is when Liquid starts mounting the comeback, and it's off of a big Lourlo TP, and you can see that, Echo Fox don't have good ways of dealing with the Renekton. He can kind of get onto whatever he wants to.
Right, if they all turn to focus on the Renekton, that just opens up the back line of TL to follow up, and that's kind of what happens. Sure, Lourlo's locked in there, but that's great. He just turns on the gate and kills him. So they get that one kill, making it a 4v5, and then they think they can go into Lourlo. He's really tanky. He gets a Karma shield, keeps him alive, and this is once again the focus onto Lourlo, freeing up the members of TL to play aggressive. Piglet had a great stun there onto both Keith and Looper, setting up a couple more kills. And for the most part, Piglet played this game actually really, really well. A lot of the things that happened to him were not his fault. He went top to assist on a dive and lost his heal. That later gets punished when Echo Fox reganks him and he doesn't have his heal anymore. And then aside from maybe that one that you were talking about, he goes over aggressive. I think Piglet actually played pretty well.
Yeah.
And a lot of the team did too. It's just there's some of that mistakes bot lane.
Yeah, so player of the game, we're going to give the honors over to ReignOver. I think Lourlo was a close second as far as those are the players that were really doing super heavy lifting, really consistently very strong and making the team fights happen. But ReignOver kind of a better score line. I mean, you saw his damage numbers. They were actually just amazing and was one of the big carries in that game.
Yeah, I mean, definitely Lourlo bought him a lot of space to go aggressive with, but then ReignOver was playing really aggressive. He was almost frontlining with Lourlo, where he would go into the fight right at the very beginning and throw in all of his damage, chunk people out, make it hard for the rest of Echo Fox to win a fight.
Yeah, and this match overall, though, or this game, I feel like it was fraught with a ton of mistakes. We were talking about the ban phase kind of before the segment started, and it's like, if you're banning against Liquid, like, do you really care that much about Piglet's rise when it wasn't even looking that good before? Like, we've really kind of repeatedly shown that Graves is easily the best champion here for ReignOver, and they let it go over to first pick, which I think.
If there's
your
one
first or
champ you
second
can't
ban.
give to TL basically right now, it's
Graves.
probably Graves. And,
Yeah.
and they let him get it, and you see what happens. ReignOver pops off, player of the game is a huge factor in why they're able to win.
Yeah, absolutely. And on the other side, though, I mean, Youngbin still is looking really bad. He had like huge mistakes at level 1. He's still dying a lot in team fights. And the final thought we want to part with before we do toss to commercial break is I actually feel like the old iteration of Liquid actually looked better. I know they're winning games, but the Piglet like Golden Glue difference is not as big as the Piglet Youngbin difference, I feel like.
Right, it'd be pretty interesting to be able to clone Piglet and then play the two teams against each other, see who's better. But it is true, like sure, Piglet looks better than old Piglet at AD carry or Golden Glue at mid lane. Sure, he looks better than both of them, but Youngbin looks substantially worse than Golden Glue mid or Piglet AD carry. So you made a stronger point and a weaker point.
Yeah, and we'll see how it actually ends up paying out for them. Of course, Game 3 coming up soon, so we're going to be right back for that game. And stick around, NALCS returns in just a little bit to see who can win this match between Team Liquid and Echo Fox. Stick around soon, we'll see you then.
For me to turn down, like, master volume.
I think he just wants me turned down, right?
I mean, it's just pretty loud. Yeah,
You
buddy.
confused me. You called it master volume.
Hello. yeah. Everyone.
First, they're making Piglet's way up here now as well, and first blood is going to be going over to Piglet. You gotta be kidding me! Trying to find the damage onto Gate. He will successfully grab it with the end of the line, but it's still only a 3-for-1. Make it a 4!
Kha'Zix and Rumble. Anivia fashion. I'm zoning up the back line.
Rumble.
Anivia flash. Keep going forward.
And this might end the game if he can make this work. Flashes into the fight, able to find the lockdown onto Froggen. More CC comes through, and that is what I'm talking about. Equalizers there. TL take the win. 9-0-3.